open our regularly scheduled select board meeting for December 18th at 6:04. And before,
No, okay. I would like to make a motion that we approve $7,200 to the applicant from the CDBG funds loan account to be paid at 60-month payments.
I'll second the motion. So I have a motion and a second. All in favor? One abstained.
Are you abstaining or
No, actually,
opposing?
okay. All right, before we start the meeting, I'll have everybody stand, recite the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
No, I haven't done that since pretty well.
All right. Item 3, public comment on items that are not on the agenda. Anybody that would like to speak or?
Mr. Mike, I'm Brian, we spoke on the phone this morning.
Yep.
So, you probably know why I'm here, and you know exactly how I feel about what's going on. This has to do with the issues that have been going on with the neighbors for the last couple of years. So basically what's been going on, and just to give you a quick refresher, is they've got this home there, I've been told by numerous people they've had this deadline, this deadline, this deadline, and they have not gotten any of these deadlines met. But now, we've got $10,000 of town money going to put sewer in for these people, when they literally haven't done anything to even merit this. They haven't met any of the deadlines, and I just don't understand why. These rules apply to everybody else. Like, if I had a deadline to meet and I didn't meet it, it'd be done over. Like, why is that not the case in this situation? And we have rules for a reason. Like, we have rules, and we have code, we have a code enforcer. What is the point of having all these things in place if they don't mean anything?
This is all right, so the item you're talking about is not on the agenda, so this isn't exactly right. So, I mean, if the board members wanna,
I was told to come here.
so, this is public comment, this is where you're gonna say that.
Yeah.
And anyone else who has anything that's not on the agenda, I believe this is supposed to be on the agenda for next. No, it's not, okay,
And
so,
so, I was told to come here today to talk about this, and we're keep pushing under the rug, and I'm done pushing it under the rug. Like, there's no point in keeping going back and forth, and we're just gonna let them do whatever they want. Like, what is the point of having these rules and codes if we don't have to make everyone adhere to them? I don't, it doesn't make any sense to me.
okay.
So, I mean, I'd like to talk about it.
I'll make an exception. If the board wants to talk about it, we can talk about it, but typically we don't talk about it because it's not on the agenda. This is where you make your public comments.
So what's against
If-
get it on the agenda? This is what we said
You
last
just have to
time.
talk to the town manager
I've talked to Christine,
and
and this has been back and forth for 3+ years now, and it's yet to come to the town meeting yet, so what's it gonna take?
we talked about it, what, 2 months ago?
Yeah, and.
And it was on the agenda.
And
Actually, it was not on the agenda.
Right,
And I mean, we talked about that for a half an hour, 45 minutes that night, which we're not supposed to.
right, we talked today, and you told me last time we spoke that December 18th was the final day, no more exceptions, but here we are, December 18th, and we're giving more exceptions, more extensions, and then we're giving them money too.
Well-
What gives?
Well, this is a little bit different when you start talking about someone that's violating an ordinance. If you have a barking dog, or if you have too many vehicles on your property that are unregistered. This is about taking someone's home,
Right, and
right? And I've told you 100 times, I'm
We
not
talked
taking
about
someone's
this,
home.
And I told them, that's fine, if they wanna stay for the order, that is perfectly fine, I'm not gonna kick someone out a week before Christmas. But
That's what you want us to do.
Rules are
That's
rules.
what you want us to do.
Rules are rules, right is right and wrong is wrong. So if that was the plan that you told me, this is what you told me, is that not what you told me? December 18th, last time we talked.
Yep, which is
Okay.
December 18th. We had made a decision.
Okay, well, I wanna know why. Why is it okay to break the rules for these people and not anyone else?
We're not breaking the rules.
Really?
You know, we give extensions to a lot of people. If you're moving forward in your property, we've done it with your father.
Yeah, well, every time he has something go on, Greg is right down there, we've been cleaning up.
And you have been. I was down there a month ago, had a great talk with your father.
Nobody's saying you're not.
Okay,
It's not
well,
the
he
issue.
tried to pin this on you earlier, just an little different.
Ho, ho, ho,
Whoa,
ho.
ho, ho, do not tell me you didn't.
Are
You said that
you
is-
kidding
You said
me?
that is his wheelhouse, and I asked you.
It's
who-
his job.
Right,
It's
and I asked
exactly
you Who
right.
is his boss, and you said Christine, and I said, you are also her boss, you are the one in charge of this entire
Wait.
operation.
The chain of command,
Yeah,
he works for Christine. Christine hired that gentleman,
okay, and who's?
all right? And he answers to Christine.
Okay.
We answer, Christine answers to us.
Okay. So where's this break in chain of command here?
The CEO made a recommendation to get the trailer out. Did you not?
Yes, it does. Serve the paperwork.
All right.
Okay,
We typically don't override that. But it was my comment that I'm not kicking someone out of a house.
right, and I told you flat out. that
Not gonna do it.
It's Christmas, it's fine, I understand, I'm not trying to get anyone kicked out a week before Christmas, that is not why I'm here. I'm here because it's ridiculous, even, you know, petty bullshit aside, right is wrong is wrong. There are rules and there are laws, and clearly they don't mean anything.
Mike, can I speak?
You sure can.
There's court orders.
So,
What's happened to the?
Hold on.
so
Hold on.
we imposed a deadline of the 18th, which
Yes.
is today, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So with the occupant of the trailer, they did come in before the 18th, and we made a plan as a board and Christine of how to proceed. We are not giving him money.
Well,
It is a
not
loan,
giving, but
it is a loan,
I understand
and
that.
it will be repaid back. If it's not repaid back, there are ways that we will go about getting the funds back.
Oh, I don't know why I'm being told to come here when this isn't even open for discussion. I'm gonna come see you sometime this week or next week, and I want this on the ballot, on one of the record.
There's, unfortunately, there's really nothing left to
Really?
talk about, because as a board, we can agree to loan money, and we have
That's
to
not what- I don't
several
have-
people,
That is not what my biggest problem is.
and now he'll be in compliance, and that was the main thing, he wasn't in
They
compliance.
have much more to do.
Right, and Greg's not gonna walk away, Greg will make sure he's in compliance of everything.
You know,
The
at a certain
fees-
point, you kinda get a little fed up when you get lied to numerous times.
Well, I'm sorry you feel like you're getting lied to, but
It's not a
this,
feeling, it's how it's been.
this is the plan that we made. We gave them the deadline the 18th, and we had a plan agreed upon with the board and
So,
Christine before the
My next
18th.
question is, if this wasn't even open for discussion, why did you guys tell me to come here tonight? Not you.
Because if we tell everybody, if you wanna air something and have it on the minute, you need to come here.
Seems kinda pointless, don't you think?
It gives you a chance to air it, and Mike's giving you the chance to have a conversation about it. I understand you don't like it,
It's
I
not that
understand
don't like it,
that.
It's just right is right and wrong is wrong, that's just how it is.
He'll be in compliance, and that will be right. That's what we wanted, that was the original thing. We didn't wanna kick him out of his house, we wanted him
So
in
the takeaway is
compliance.
we can pretty much just do whatever we want. Okay, that's
Well-
cool, I'm open to that, it's fine.
If that's the path you wanna go down.
Can I ask a couple questions?
Hold on. Jake, you have anything to say?
I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah, he's fed up with it too.
Now, since this has been court ordered, the town overrides the courts today? That's what kind of makes
That's a
me
whole
wonder.
Thing.
This has been court ordered. That's what I heard a month ago.
How do you want to answer that?
The notice that was served to him was not a court order, it was an order stating you had 30 days to comply with it, or we would have the opportunity to go in and move the trailer. That's not a court order.
Oh, so it was never court ordered?
It came from the town's attorney.
Which came from the court.
Well, I guess I hear things wrong myself then. Hey, I'm not gonna lie, cause I just don't. I was under the assumption that it was court ordered.
The court
To
gave
go?
the town the opportunity to move the trailer should it
Even
not
if
come
it
into.
was court ordered, the
compliance.
board is the ultimate authority in any case in town.
So just like on my question, the town overrides the courts.
Well, originally, there was a court order like last year, but then there's some law that came into effect or something, that kind of like put that all in the limbo or whatever. But regardless, it's just not a good situation, and you know this, you know this, you know this, and you. and you especially.
Especially.
You've been in my house a million times, you know this is
You don't even
wrong.
own property down there.
I'm just saying, you know.
You don't even own
You
your
know,
property.
I have to live there.
It's your father's.
That's
Yeah.
why I'm here.
All right, guys,
I
all right.
don't have to live there.
All right, yeah.
I don't have to live
Hey,
there.
all right,
Okay, buddy. We know what's what, just stop it right there. All right, it's all understood, we know what's happened. So, okay.
what's changed since the last time you and I talked? We had a pretty good talk, you
Yeah.
wanted to hire him.
Yeah, oh, no, what, no, wait a minute.
I'd like to hire him, what your words were.
They tried to hire me to move the trailer. I went and got a guy to drive my truck to move the trailer.
Because that was his recommendation, was to,
Okay.
So we
that's-
looked at
that's
that.
what that's what I'm telling you. That's what I'm telling you. That was my assumption that they had to go. That's the whole story. There ain't nothing else to
What-
say about it. That's.
what did I tell you when I met with you a month ago?
You told me
My
all
feel,
kinds
there
of
was,
things.
I was only one voice, but what did I tell you my opinion was on that?
Why don't you tell me again? I guess I forgot. What was it? What was your opinion?
That I'm not kicking anyone out of it.
yeah, yes. of
Yeah,
course.
but we had a good talk with you
Of
and
course.
your mechanic.
Well, yeah, but you gotta understand, I gotta drive by that place all the time to go to my business. And that's what you gotta understand. My sister lives a second trailer in. People don't even come to dare to come see her. It's unreal.
Because,
You wanna drive by that every day? That's what I'm getting at.
because of what? The way it looks or your
That too,
attitude
that
towards
too.
them and their attitude towards you?
Just the whole.
Things have
the way it
changed with
looks.
them toward me. Things have changed. They haven't bothered me, okay?
Yeah.
So I'm not.
Well, that's
here for that
good.
reason.
That's a step forward.
Yeah, but I'm not here for that reason, but I've been sitting there listening what he's been saying and what you all do know. I just said, it was been court ordered, okay, that's what I heard. They was looking for a mover to move the thing, no place to put it. You got a place to put it, I never heard any more, so what am I supposed to think?
Well, I think
That's
it's
all.
because when Greg first gave us his recommendation, typically when he gives us a recommendation, how many times do we go against your recommendation?
In this case, I recommend you move the mobile home and I serve them the paper.
But it wouldn't have been any different if you said, well, our hands are tied, them guys are gonna be there, what are we gonna do anyways? Right down to it.
I guess I don't understand
You
what
know-
you're saying or asking.
Why lead a guy on saying it's gonna go and this and that? Hey, I'm not
That
gonna
was a
live too many
decision
more years,
that I made.
I'm going on
Dennis.
70 years old, you know?
That was a decision I made. I work for them.
I understand
They
that,
decided to do something different, so that's the way it is.
but at the time, that was
That's
the,
what I suggested, yes. And I served them the paperwork.
and then after all, everything's all legal, the place is all legally set up right, and then the whole works. Am I right?
Probably no more than yours is.
Well, I put cement blocks and I put a level on the home and I get my permits legally, that's all I have to say.
Right.
That's
All
I
right,
have to say.
okay.
Okay, okay, good enough.
Is there any other public comment?
I guess we got that pretty well covered, so. All right,
Beat a dead horse to
ready?
death.
Well,
Seeing none?
you didn't think it was gonna be any different, now? Item 4 on the agenda, we have a public hearing. Item A, extension of an automobile graveyard, automobile recycling, and a junkyard moratorium ordinance. Oh, I'll make a motion to open the public hearing at 6:19. I have motion and a second. All in favor? Do I have any public comment on this order to extend this automobile graveyard
recycling and junkyard moratorium ordinance. Seeing none, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing at 6:20.
Second.
A motion and a second, all in favor? All right. Adjustments to the agenda, I believe you wanna move Greg up?
Yeah, I know, that meeting was supposed to be on in 10 minutes, so. I
Okay,
appreciate it.
Just switch the order of what's on the agenda,
so
there's no amendment to it, it's just a moving the order of it.
which one do we wanna move up, so,
We are moving item
what's that?
4, 5, and 6,
On new business.
correct. Put it up front.
All right, let me do the consent agenda first.
Yep.
We'll skip Sheriff, he's here for that, right?
Yes.
So I'll make a motion to approve Articles A, AP warrant number 15 in the amount of $505. Item B, AP warrant number 16 in the amount of $24,863.53. Item C, AP warrant number 17 in the amount of $41,000. Item D, AP warrant number 18 in the amount of $1,214. Item E, AP warrant number 19 in the amount of $277,048.65. Payroll warrant week number 47 in the amount of $3,874.92. Item G, payroll warrant week number 48 in the amount of $4,337.21. Item H, payroll warrant week number 49 in the amount of $4,685.31. Item I, payroll warrant week number 50 in the amount of $4,039. Item J, payroll warrant week number 51 in the amount of $4,071.42. Item K, minutes of the August 7th, 2024 select meeting. Item L, minutes of the October 9th, 2024 select meeting. Item M, minutes of the October 17th, 2024 select meeting. And item N, minutes of the November 13th, 2024 select meetings. And I'll make a motion to approve all of the consent agenda as read.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any public comment? All in favor? Trying not to have that many. Come up here, 2 or 3 times. All right, so we'll move to new business, item 4. We have an update on 10 Searles Mills Road. Mr. Lombard.
Yes, it's basically worse than it was when I first started 2 years ago. Septic system's still not in, foundation's not complete yet, there's piles of junk all around the place. There hasn't been much progress, I can see.
Did he know we were gonna talk about this tonight? Did anybody reach out to him?
This
I
is,
didn't.
this is not in concern to any violations, it's just an update for you because it will be on your January agenda.
Okay,
So I wanted Greg to update you as to where it stood prior to that meeting coming up.
okay.
I did get a call the other day, that he's out there with an excavator to start to do the septic, but with 6 inches of frost in the ground, you can't install it properly with all that frost in the ground.
So the last meeting we had, which was summertime? I
Yeah, he
believe.
gave him an extension to January 1st.
Okay, yeah,
Then there was one before that.
yeah. And your estimate, what is he, what has improved since our last meeting?
In my opinion, nothing.
Okay. Did you go inside?
No, I didn't
No.
dare to, I was afraid we'd fall into the.
Still, you think? Yeah,
It's, take a ride down, take a look.
good.
Do you know if those I-beams that are there were under that place in the beginning, or?
They were,
See, he pulled those out, right?
yeah, it's
I
not much
think it's
older.
doing not very good favors right now.
I wouldn't go in there.
Yeah, it's not even safe for anybody in there right now, I don't believe. As soon as you pull those out, the middle of that house is just sagging heavy.
I mean, you look at it, I mean, you can tell it's very crooked. I mean, a lot crooked.
They put the windows in already, some of them. couple
So when they straighten it out, they'll probably break all the windows.
Right. And this was a safety issue, it's only been,
right?
Sherry?
I just wanted an update, so I'm
Okay,
good.
yeah. Alright. That's it on him, on that one?
Yeah.
Alright, so we'll go to 79 Marie Lane.
Yes. That has two vacant mobile homes on it. That area has been a problem with law enforcement for quite some time. But my understanding is it's not occupied now. Both those mobile homes are dangerous buildings, there's no adequate septic for the first one, and the second one, when there are people there, it's literally running right on the ground.
Yes, those are processes through the court to go after them to clean up, they're called CDKs.
Okay.
I've met with the owner up here, he actually lives in Florida, I've met with people that store their junk there and tried to do it the easy way. But at this point, I'd recommend an 80K action.
Wasn't there dogs up there at one time?
The war, yes,
Gone.
gone.
Okay. You know why, or did our
The
ACO?
ACO handled it, I think she actually ended up taking them to the shelter.
I got you.
Yep.
Okay, any comment on that?
You'll need a motion in a second to start the 80K process in the court, we need it in the minutes.
Oh, that's what you wanna do?
Yeah,
Oh,
I'd like to
oh,
move forward, because I don't believe they're gonna do anything on their own. So if we go through the court, go through the process, get a demo order, and, remove the mobile homes and put a lien on it.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to, approve the CEO of starting an 80K,
80K.
on 79 Marie Lane. Anything else on that?
No.
second.
Motion and a second, any public comment on that? All in favor? Okay. 18 Hillcrest.
Yeah, we've been there, done that before, long story short on that, he did pay his taxes current, and I'm not sure if he's current right now, but he's still got the same items there, it still isn't cleaned up. He's moved a couple cars out of there, but the junk is still there.
Not living there.
Now, last I knew, he was in jail in Scotland. I've tried to contact him, all the numbers I had and the friends he knew, but come up with nothing.
When was the last time you talked to him?
Oh, I think Christine's office, how long ago was that?
Oh,
Early fall, when he
Yeah.
paid the taxes,
He was gonna go right in and start cleaning, well, he did, and then, I don't know what happened, but the girl that he was dating, said that he was in jail for domestic assault against her, so. I'm assuming he's still there, but I don't know that for a fact.
okay. So I'll make a motion to grant the ACO to start an 80K action.
The CEO.
What did I say, ACO?
Been a long day.
Well, that's your next
Whatever
job. My bad. I'll make a motion to grant the CEO to start an 80K action against 18 Hillcrest.
Second.
They have a motion to second. Any public comment? All in favor?
thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Fred.
All right, Greg. What's that?
Thank you.
Back to
Have a good Christmas.
Yeah, yeah,
Merry Christmas.
yes. All right, so we'll go back to item 6, the Kennebec County Sheriff's Office update. Sir.
Good evening. Some of you may not know, Deputy Simon York from the Sheriff's Office. Over the past month of November, I pulled the numbers for the details that we've conducted in the town. We had a total of 20 motor vehicle stops in the month of November with only 2 tickets that were issued, 2 traffic summonses. From reading the sheets, the deputies were conducting a bunch of business checks and checking the town's properties, as well as receiving new reports of suspicious activity on Harlan Drive that we've been looking into. But other than that, that is what everybody's been up to, mostly sticking to high visibility enforcement in the town, especially in the 35-mile-an-hour zones or school drop-offs in the morning. And most importantly, we've been trying to get over to the other school on Hollowell Road to try to sit over there, because there's no lights, and a lot of people have a hard time seeing the numbers in the early morning of what time school speed limit is, so, been focusing on that.
Okay. Any,
Appreciate it.
any public comment or questions for the gentleman?
I got one.
Sure.
I know that in the afternoon here on this school,
Mhm.
parents seem to want to block 226 from traffic because they need to go in there to get their kids and the place is packed.
Mhm.
Well, by law, you should know, you can't block a public way.
Well, yes, you can't, however, you know, we try to look at reasonableness with people trying to pick up their children, you know, at the school when the speed limit's 15 miles an hour. You know, the school's trying to cycle the kids out as safely as possible, and,
Well,
you know, having,
I get all that, but you got some pretty heavy trucks that travel this road. And a lot of them aren't doing the speed limit, cause I know this, cause I live on this road.
yeah,
And I know it's 15 but it's just a bad situation that could get worse. That's all I'm saying.
yeah, and unfortunately, you know, we try to slow people down as much as we can, but we can't prevent the actual person from speeding if they don't want to.
No, but it's not about the speeding part, it's about them being in the road, trying to get their kids from the school.
Mhm.
And it's gonna create a hazard. It already is creating a hazard. It just needs to, it's gonna get worse.
Yeah.
And whatever time the school gets out, I've been caught in it 3 times,
Mhm.
and I drive a truck.
Yeah.
So,
And, you know, fortunately, it's only for a short period of time during the day.
and I try to avoid the
It
times.
doesn't last all day, so inconvenience to some people for a couple of minutes, you know.
While we're on topic of that, can we meet on the agenda next month to discuss possible flashing lights for that place anyway?
For the school,
Montessori, maybe work with them on, I don't know what the cost is and
Yeah.
splitting with them or whatnot. I just think that parking lot's way too close to that road compared to the school over here.
They came to us a
Last
few
year or
years
something, I don't know.
back.
Yeah.
And I believe the reason, so they asked that same question. And was you here? Or it could have been ready, do you remember this? And I believe the comment was that we couldn't spend town dollars on a private school like that. I believe that's, you maybe will go back into the minutes and,
I'll find
and
out
so-
the answers and I'll-
Right, it's just a legal thing. I mean, the sign thing, I get it, but
and
the
that,
lettering's this big on the sign,
You
and
can't
it's
read it.
15 feet for the driveway. I mean, they're already doing 40 miles an hour as it is.
and I think that's where the signs came, because
Right.
they did come to us and ask to put a flashing light or something like that.
I'll have to work with them on something. It
and-
needs to be done.
I believe he said, I think Scott may have checked with Steve
Right.
to see if that could legally be done, spending, tax dollars on a private school. But it is in the town's right of way, but I believe they did come back and say it wasn't, warranted to do that, but definitely,
Find out.
yeah,
I was
it
surprised
should be in
on
there.
that, see what it costs, so we can work on something from there.
Any other comments for this gentleman? Yes,
I'd like to see a little bit of time spent over on the north end of Route 9 where the marijuana place is. Because people peel out of there all the time and fishtail across both lanes of the road. 2 years ago, a motorcyclist was hit by someone coming out of there. I don't even know if that guy survived. And from my house, which is probably 1,000 feet away, I can hear squealing going on as if the person's just sitting there, squealing the tires.
Well, what I'll do is I'll certainly make note of that like I am and send it out to the deputies that do work this zone and who will be working Chelsea patrols. I was actually just over at Dick Connor's tonight for about 2 hours, parked over there, trying to see what vehicles were doing, what the average speed that I could find out.
Right.
And mostly everybody going through there was, I had one person doing 60, but other than that, it was 48, 49 the entire time, so. But I can certainly move up further and ask the deputies to go up further towards James and Whitney and over by Souls in that area.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, good, thank you.
all set? Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to new items. Item 1, discussion, consider renewal of an automobile graveyard, automobile recycling, and junkyard moratorium ordinance.
So you had your public hearing
Yep.
on this. It was adopted in April with a retroactive date of January 1, 2024, which made it expire in June. The board had the option to renew for another additional 180 days in June, which you did. Unfortunately, due to a lack of a quorum for planning board to work on that, it has stayed stagnant for a few months. We now have a very active planning board, fingers crossed, that it is the top of their priority, and I'm sure Chair Alexander will update you on that with his agenda item, but I'd like an extension for another 180 days. That will place us to town meeting for a possible adoption of this ordinance.
Okay, so before a motion is made, do we have any public comment on this? Yes, sir?
Is this about existing ones or new ones or just in general?
I think it's a little bit of both, isn't it?
It's correct, it basically limits, those that have current junkyard licenses are allowed to renew them. There'll be no new applications at this point, but we don't have anybody we have one that's upcoming, but the other ones are all 5-year permits, so.
Any comment? So I'll make a motion to extend the moratorium on automobile graveyard, recycling and junkyard moratorium for an additional 180 days, which takes us into,
It'll take us to June
oh, okay, yeah,
2025.
so that's my motion.
Meeting.
I have a motion and a second, all in favor?
I'm abstaining.
Okay. So you're gonna get on that, or,
Oh, we're on it.
oh, you are, okay.
Oh, yeah. We actually found an ordinance we really like, so we should have a draft ordinance pretty much next meeting. And then we have 2 planning board meetings actually scheduled for January, one on, I can't remember, I think it's the 7th, and one on the 21st, sticks in my head. But we're gonna have 2 meetings in January to try to get that one done and out of the way, so that we know that that's done, so you could actually potentially do it if we have an early town meeting or a special town meeting like we've had in the past.
Yep.
I know that one was a. Yep, got it, thank you. We have all that in the works, so amongst
Okay.
some other things I wanna talk about this afternoon.
Okay, yep. Okay, let's move on, well, we'll move right on to item 2. You have the floor.
All right, sir, thank you very much. As you know, we were without a planning board for an unfortunate amount of time. We should have an application before you this evening for another new member, which will bring our members to 6. We actually have a very active planning board right now that seems to be very enthusiastic to get some things done in town, so that's good. Basically, in a nutshell, there's some things that have kind of come up in town that have brought about, well, prompted some discussions. There's a couple small ordinance changes we have to make for the ordinance that we did, just some clarification and housekeeping things. But we don't have any zoning in this town, which is fine, and we're not gonna get that. And probably it's a bigger project than anybody would ever want to undertake. But what we're running into is that really the only thing that comes basically before the planning board is subdivision and multifamilies, and there might be 1 or 2 obscure things that I might not be aware of. But aside from that, no other business in town comes before the planning board. So my question to you, the board this evening is kind of, well, twofold, like is there any appetite to change that? And if there is, what would that look like? Because there's literally nothing out there, there's nothing, we have something in there for change of use, but change of use to what? I mean, we have the systems in place, but we don't really have any standards or regulation to do that. And what we're not talking about like over-regulating. The rules are basic or would be basic. We're not talking about having a stack of ordinances this thick, but what we are talking is having, for example, I think Greg had an asphalt grinding plant that was potentially looking at doing something. But, okay, that's fine, but would something like that have more of a buffer than 25 feet to the neighboring house? I mean, those things create a ton of dust, make a lot of noise. So we don't have any commercial district versus residential district in town where certain things are allowed and certain things are not.
I thought it was a gravel pit or something.
Something along those lines, but he used the asphalt grinding, I think it was. I don't know, I could be, but
Same idea.
that's just an example. So it's something, I mean, we're happy to dive into it a little bit, but literally the only thing that comes before planning board right now is essentially multifamilies, which we don't have an abundance of, and subdivisions, which we also don't have an abundance of. And so there's been also some other things that have been a change of use that are larger businesses in town, and it's not to say that, of course, they would get approved most likely. I mean, there's no reason that you wouldn't, but if a business has a massive change of use, would you want any oversight over that, just in case that there's a reason that an original granted use would not be necessarily, that change of use would be a much more invasive or intrusive use over the original use? Would you want oversight over that? So, it's a lot to think about.
What about some of the ordinances that may have been on the books since the 70s and 80s? I mean, have you gone through every ordinance that is on the books?
We're getting pretty close
Just
to
to
that.
see, you know, because obviously something that was written adopted in the 70s and 80s
Doesn't apply.
probably needs to be.
So the mobile home ordinance, when that got tweaked, a lot of that didn't apply because state laws changed. And even when we changed it, the attorney changed some of what we changed, even though it was a lot better, because certain parts of that changed just due to state law changes. So, you know, I mean, I'm not aware of too many things that we haven't kind of already looked at. I'm happy to go back through and look at it.
No, this is something I ask every year.
Sure.
When we meet with the planning board every new term.
Yeah.
Just so that, you know, we know that an old ordinance that's been 40 years on the books has been looked at.
Yeah, so we did planning board ordinance a couple of years ago. We did a lot, and most of the ordinances wound up in the book of ordinances. So they've all been looked at, and just through practical application, we found a few housekeeping things that need to be just cleaned up, and we're going to do that. But, you know, like campgrounds, for example, well, we've got a nice campground ordinance, but there's no oversight of that. So who oversees that? If you get a 200 unit campground application, do you want the planning board to oversee that, or do you just want the CO to write that
When
off?
did we get a campground ordinance?
It's in there somewhere, we wrote it.
One coming.
You've had one all along, but
Never heard of it.
yeah, no. You probably had an ordinance.
Not in my 15 years, I've never heard of a campground ordinance.
You probably never had to use it. But when we were sticking stuff in the big ordinance, we took everything we thought we could stick in there around one and stuck it in there. And that was one of them.
Interesting, okay.
And then I guess if when something like that comes along and the ordinances is there, then that's what we're gonna have to roll with, right? And it's there for a reason.
Right, but there's no, like, we can't, like, right now, there's nothing other than what minuscule rules that you have. So, that's what you got.
I mean, if Greg's gonna write a permit out, then they're gonna a solar farm, right? I mean, essentially, if Greg is cool with it, then I would assume that's his job, and if you think.
If that's what the board's
if he
okay
thinks the
with, then that's
permit's
fine.
to go, then
But there's no layer of oversight or additional town input on a larger commercial project. I'm not talking about every little thing, I'm talking about.
I would say mostly business related.
Correct, yeah.
Yes.
This is not the average homeowner is building a new house, nobody,
Case in point, you could have a building that, say houses a church daycare. And then all of a sudden, the church daycare goes out and somebody wants a smoke shop in there.
with an adult bookstore and who knows what.
Exactly. What are the neighbors gonna think? Nothing went to the planning board to review and said, you need to pertain now to this. That's a change of use.
We have an adult book.
Just using that as an
Oh,
example.
okay,
It's
all
just-
right.
I'm not
'Cause I was
saying
on the
you do.
planning board when that came up.
I don't know that you do, and I don't know that you don't. I don't think we messed with that one, but
We're just saying, I mean.
I'm just using that as an
The
example.
total extreme, you have a very quiet craft place that's only open on Sundays, and now all of a sudden, somebody wants to put a nightclub in.
Right, okay, that's a great example. And there's nothing that I'm aware of in any of our ordinances that prevent a nightclub.
No.
I mean, it's business to town, I don't,
Yeah,
I'm fine with whatever comes in, as long as it's, Greg's fine putting a permit out for it, then.
Greg would
That's
have
that,
no
Greg.
choice but to.
Yeah, but
do it.
that's the
Right.
point I'm getting, there's no
regulation.
choice, there's
Right.
no, there's nothing saying, like, there's
Standards,
no standards, there's nothing.
right.
So either you want some standards, or you keep rolling on, and then it doesn't matter what comes in this town, you get what you get.
Mm.
So those are your choices.
I mean, you can sit here and try to look at,
Many different things.
you know, the type of businesses that you don't want to come in town.
No, I'm not even suggesting that.
You know, when the adult bookstore in Farmingdale was on its way out,
Mm-hmm,
took what, 10 years, 12 years, whatever?
sure.
Well, there was scuttlebutt that the owners actually had property over here in Chelsea. So we, the select board, which I was on the planning board at the time, hurried through us. We had to put something together
Mm-hmm.
so that, you know, we wouldn't have that in our town.
Sure.
So, I mean, I've always been, you know, open for business, whatever. I'm against site review. We've had it, it's gone through the town twice. The town has denied it twice.
Mhm.
You know, I don't think the town is so radical with any business that, you know, we go back and look at complaints. You know, we don't have a lot of complaints on businesses.
Sure.
So to try to, you know, again, look at like solar farms, and any other type that is spreading out in the country,
Mhm.
you know. I mean, quite frankly and honestly, housing developments create more of a problem, and maybe I don't wanna use the word problem, but costs the town more money
Mm.
than a business. You know, you start looking at state funding, the way it's been, and what's in the future.
Sure.
Thank God for state subsidies, or else, you know, each kid would cost this town, every taxpayer, at least $10,000 per kid.
I can't even imagine, I see what I got.
You wait till next year.
Oh, sure.
Next year is, you wait, something's coming. So, I'm always against, you know, looking at,
Can't be any more than it is.
well, that's a different topic, it really is. I know me, and maybe just because I have a business, or had one, and I'm business oriented, but, I mean, we have some really nice looking businesses in town.
You do, until you have one that it isn't. Right.
You're right, and hopefully we step up but, I mean, we've got some really attractive commercial buildings that are pulling in really good tax dollars.
Sure.
So I have mixed emotions when it comes to looking at you know, trying to go out and go after a certain entity.
Yeah, nobody's talking
You
about
know-
that. I think the bigger thing is that just you have generic standards for certain, let's just say, if you have an industrial classification, or if you have an office classification, or if you have, I don't know, landscaping business, then these, you just have a certain general set of rules for certain classifications of business. That's all. Nobody's saying targeting, that's, if you got that impression, that's not what. that's
No,
not
no, and I wasn't insinuating that, but, you know, when I look at the complaints, the last complaint I went to with the CEO on a Saturday morning, the complaint was that because the business who owned land out back in the field put some of his back inventory out there, the complaint was, I can't see the deer in the field anymore.
Oh, well, that's the.
So these, so this is some of the complaints that you see.
Well, nothing's gonna prevent those.
No, but
Yeah,
I guess where I'm going with that is, we don't get a lot of, well, his air compressor runs all night, or he's working on cars or trucks in his garage till midnight.
Sure.
In Windy Acres, which I think we had a problem years ago. I think if the complaints were really, really overwhelming with commercial buildings, I definitely think the people in town would be here and letting us know that, hey, we need to look at.
So, I mean, that's just one thing that's come up, because I think Greg's called me, I don't know, a dozen or two times with things coming, or this, that, and every other thing. There's been nothing we can do about any of it, so, and so just, just going forward, just know that there's nothing there for us to do anything with. And
If Greg
that's
has
where-
issues like that, maybe you should reach out to one of us if it's getting to be overwhelming, you know what I mean? If he's getting a dozen phone calls on something, then
It's,
maybe bring to our attention.
it's not that, it's just, the question is do we have a way, what's the source of regulations? Well, there aren't any. I'm not aware of any, and then it's just brainstorming to see if there's anything that's there, and then generally not,
Right.
so.
Sherry? Any thoughts?
I'm okay with Greg, it going through Greg. I think maybe we need to ask Greg if he would like to have some backup, some more guidance. You know, if that's what Greg's looking for by calling you, then maybe that is the path that we need to go down.
Mm.
Or if he's just calling to make sure that he's in compliance with whatever he's saying.
No, he's not necessarily looking for that, he's just looking to make sure that there's nothing that we need from a planning board perspective, and there's nothing for the planning board to enforce in town, literally.
I can give you two examples that happened most recently. One was when New England Rent to Own burned, they all of a sudden changed from New England Rent to Own that they were gonna sell mobile homes. And I asked Greg, and I'm sure he reached out to you, and said, this is now completely different. No longer are they little homemade sheds, but they're bringing in inventory. The second one was a campground, a 200 lot campground being proposed on a road that we are slowly losing. So where are we regulating that also? So,
And there's nothing,
No.
I don't see campgrounds, it's not in the ordinance for us to see campgrounds, there's no standards for that. So there's nothing for me to even look at from a planning board standpoint if one gets there with the board. So that's like, and that's fine, if that's what you guys want, that's fine, but there's, just know that if one comes, then there's, if it creates problems with the roads or this, that, or it's the town's problem at that point. There's
The
nothing
state's dumping a bunch of people on it pretty soon anyway, so it's.
What's that?
The state's gonna dump a bunch of traffic on it this summer anyway, so it is what it is.
Well, and the amount of trucks that still travel down through there.
well,
You
that could
know?
be any road though.
Oh,
The
no,
average
you're right,
using
but that's normally then, I mean, if we're talking the Windsor Road, which I think we are,
Yes.
I mean, man, when I drove in the 80s, I would cut down that road. So I'm to blame as much as anybody back in the day. But I was younger then, and I really didn't know a lot. Not that I know a lot more now, but I would cut. I'll be honest with you, I used to cut down that road because it was. But there's no law enforcement. you know, until it steps up more, and, I mean, I don't know if the sheriff department can write overweight tickets or on that road. It has to be a DOT guy. And they're not gonna be there every day. They'll be, you know, we could get somebody there for a couple days.
I'm sure they can stop them. They just
Oh, without a doubt you can stop them, but, you know, are we gonna get that? To me, that's one of the bigger problems on that road than anything,
I don't know.
is the trucks that just continue to, you know, I was sitting at Dick Connors yesterday, tractor trailer came left and went right up the hollow road.
Which you're allowed to do as long as they're making a delivery according to our.
There was nothing on that flatbed,
Ordinance.
so, you know, it's, when it comes to that, it's tough. I
I know.
probably should have brought that up, but it's tough to enforce when it comes to the big.
Hey, it is what it is.
Do we have any public comment on what Joel is talking about so far? Yes, sir.
Well, I'd just like to mention, a lot of those things, there are state laws too. It all doesn't necessarily have to center around the town, there's probably some state laws out there that have to be complied with.
Unless you're talking about something generally with EPA or something like that.
Well, if you were putting in a driveway, especially if it's a state road, I think you need the DOT to approve the approach and so forth. So to say that the town doesn't have any authority to do anything and let anybody do anything they want because there's no ordinance is just going to an extreme. I'm saying there are other laws that regulate some of these industries or some of these businesses.
Well, that's the minor part of it, you'd have to get that no matter what, so that's not what we're really talking about.
Okay.
So that's the biggest piece of it, and then the other piece of it was just if you had any questions on the junkyard ordinance, we're talking about all kinds of things with that. It's gonna piggyback essentially off of state law. We found a town ordinance that the board really liked that kind of adds to it and adds some additional buffers and so on and so forth. And
Is it another small town, or is it?
it is another small town ordinance,
Perfect.
so it's not like it's a
It's a
30-page.
Big municipality, yeah.
Correct, yeah, and actually the town of Whiting, if I remember.
It was.
correctly, wasn't it? So,
Where, Wayne?
huh?
Whiting.
Whiting.
I don't even know where it is, but we found it.
It's up north, isn't it?
I guess.
It's up north, yeah.
But yeah,
By your campus, so, yeah.
so, that's the one we've chosen to essentially steal and modify and mess with and I guess the question really becomes is do we just keep, do we wanna have a cap on salvage yards and junkyards in town, or do we want to just allow junkyards as we go along, or how do we wanna handle it?
We are on the map, right, as for being,
The biggest in the state?
yeah, I believe so, right,
Is that
per
what-
capita?
Is that what we wanna keep, or do we wanna shed that title?
At least it gets us away from some of the other things that have
Okay.
haunted us. Have we had any go by the wayside?
Not that I'm aware of.
Nothing.
No.
So we get 7, 8, 9.
I think you have 3 current licensed and several that are not
Yeah.
licensed.
Yeah, I think we have 4 professional junkyards,
Yes.
3 or 4 sticking in my head.
2 for sure,
Yeah,
the ones over on, 17, and then,
One of those is a recycler,
right,
and then Able and Paul's Pick Apart is one license, cause
they're
both-
joint, right?
And then there is another one, I think there's 4.
So you differentiate a recycler to a,
Correct.
Really?
That's coming in this ordinance,
There's two
Yes.
pieces to that.
because there was no differentiation on that, and we met with Clark's,
Yeah.
to talk to them about making a separation, because their job is totally different than a junkyard's job. They hold it, send it out, a junkyard holds it, so it's a little different.
Yep.
So,
so yeah, you have, how many people on the board now?
We'll have 6 if you approve the application before you tonight. Oh, and the other thing that we are working on, which was just piggybacks off of what we had a conversation with the board the last time, is the subdivision, light or minor subdivision for people who are doing like 3 units or something like that. So it's a little bit more of a streamlined process than the whole giant application if people are adding, you know, smaller amounts of housing to lots versus like a 25 unit subdivision.
Well, I guess I would say if you have a good board, I would ink them to long-term contracts,
No?
just to get them.
15-year note.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, we'll approve it.
Yeah, I think
No getting out of it.
I think we got a good board. I'm not worried about it.
Okay, so you're all set with that?
Yep.
Good. Any other comments? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
So we'll move on to item 3, which is an appointment of Mr. Sean Spillane to the planning board.
1 second.
Motion and a second. Any public comment on this gentleman? All in favor? That was quick.
That was easy.
Didn't even make him talk.
Is he here?
He's not here. I don't know.
Oh, my bad if he, no, I said,
He's not here. I'll love
Item 7, continue the review of current policies and investment policy and
Have a
guidelines.
good night.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Joe.
I'm gonna sit and learn. Have a good night.
Thanks, Joe. Merry Christmas.
Have a good Christmas.
Yeah, thank you.
We're continuing our policies, 1 a month is about all I can get through. I did review this, I didn't see anything that stood out as necessarily needing to be changed right at this moment. You know, we continue to work through the investments and making the most of the money that the town has, so if you guys will approve the policy to continue as is, at least for the next year.
That's my motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any public comment? All in favor?
Thank you.
Item 8, ratify the RSU 12 bus agreement.
This is a standard annual housekeeping item to agree to pay them about $29,000. I will tell you, we budgeted almost 31, so we're in good shape there. It's monthly payments of about $2,900 for transportation.
And this is gonna be for what years to what?
This is the school year.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve the extension for the bus agreement with the RSU for this fiscal school year.
Yep.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any public comment? All in favor?
Thank you.
Number 9, State of Maine DOT construction area Route 17 and Windsor Road. What do we have here?
So if you've never seen one of these are standard practices that come from the DOT when they're doing a project that could possibly impact a municipal-owned road. Because it is at the corner of Windsor Road and 17, the state asks if the municipality would like possible contractors delivering to the project to be bonded to go across municipal roads. My suggestion on this is do not require a bond, but instead require that all contractors have to maintain on Route 17 and they don't go across Windsor Road, which you are allowed to do as a municipality. The project's on 17, there's no reason they have to go down Windsor. They can come up this road and go down there. And that was an agreement on this whole project to begin with, that they were gonna put signs, so that would be my suggestion to this board, is keep them off Windsor Road.
Any public comment on that? Yes, sir.
What's the project?
The project will be placing a turning lane heading towards Augusta in the approximate location of Crystal Falls, a turning lane to turn left onto Windsor Road.
The break, or a slow lane, or a passing lane, right?
There will, yes, so there'll be a turning lane and then a passing lane on the side of Crystal Falls. They said there was too many rear-ending accidents in that intersection. It was a concern a couple months back that I sent a letter asking them to eliminate big trucks going down that road, that we were not in favor of this because it was only going to encourage it. The agreement from the state in this project was that they would place 2 signs, one on each end of 17 that says permanent truck route ahead to have them come down here, so they'll be placed on each side. That was the only thing we could get out of them.
Yeah, I think it'd be pretty tight if you got two 18-wheels on that road.
On Windsor Road?
Yeah,
Well,
some spots.
as Chair Pusher had said, they're still using it. So, okay, so you guys are okay, you'll sign the document?
yes.
Okay, alright.
Item 10 of new business. Appointment to the RSU 12 board. School board?
We need names. You're short a member.
Henry?
You go home.
Absolutely.
Henry gets.
I'll get seafood.
Who did we lose?
Catherine
Temple.
Temple.
Did she go to
She
the-
went to the planning board.
Yes. So all we have is Rick and,
Cody,
Another one, yeah.
Cody, the former principal, or the former,
Frank.
No, there's two of them, there's Rick and another one, I can't remember.
the older
He was
gentleman.
here last week.
Rick, Cody lives
Yeah,
on the.
Cody, right?
Oh, okay, no,
Yeah.
he's good, yeah.
Yeah, but you still need one more.
Hey Scott, what are you doing?
Molly? Come on.
All right, we'll put our heads together.
Ask John Began.
Okay,
You want me to
so
raise
no
your-
one is raising their hand out in the audience, right?
She wants me to ask.
John
somebody.
Began.
Excuse me?
John Began.
Oh,
You get to know personal chef and food, so that can be an intriguing point.
what do they serve?
Good stuff.
Okay, moving on. Item 11, review the price and quote of the upgraded camera system.
This board asked me to seek out other quotes on the upgraded camera system. Excuse me, at this point, I only have two quotes, one from Seco Security, I think it was about $6,000. And then the recommendation from a resident in town to have Sniper Security come, they were in the vicinity of about $13,000. So, I can seek out some more, or we can continue to hold
I was
off,
gonna use that.
hold off until
What was the first one?
about 6,000 and change, it's in your
I
packet.
thought Sniper was 6,800.
There's two systems in that. One is for this area, the second is for this area. They're each about $6,000 a piece, and then the monthly monitoring on top of that.
So why is Seacoast? Are they comparing apples to apples? Are they?
Yes, he was here, Sniper was here.
Well, no, I remember that, but Seacoast.
Seacoast is just upgrading their equipment. Everything's already here, all the wires are here.
Oh,
The server's here, the modem's
Oh,
here,
I gotcha.
everything's set.
Sniper would have to come in and,
He would run new
so there's
wires.
a difference, yeah.
This part will also have a locked code to enter. As you well know, we don't know how many people have keys to these doors. This is not armed. So, probably shouldn't put that out in the public, but
Well, you just did, so.
I know.
Merry Christmas.
Change those locks. I mean, is it something we need?
No.
What is your
It was,
opinion?
it was just discussed before because of the recycle thing and
Correct.
people leaving junk everywhere and this whole thing should just go on the road anyway, but, you just can't see nothing. And the cameras we have, I don't think they're that great, are they?
They are not, they're very old
Right.
school. As I said before, my suggestion would be to have it as part of the whole package on the town office. We're getting there within a year and a half, fingers crossed.
That's what my
We could
suggestion.
hold off and do it as part of the package.
So, Seacoast knows they have 4 cameras and they're just letting it roll that way with the money, or how's that work?
You paid for the upgrades. You bought those cameras at some point.
Alright,
You want an upgrade, you're going to pay for it.
no, I get it.
All we're paying for is monthly monitoring at this point.
So what line would that come out of?
We don't have a line.
Oh, okay,
It would
So
have to
it would-
be
yeah.
either upcoming budget or a special town meeting.
what did we put up today down at the salt shed?
That was a blink camera that is it's $100 a year to have for service to view it on my phone. And that's
That's a lot
basically,
clearer than the one we're paying here for.
Well, so,
basically for storage. There's no alarm on that
Right.
one, it's just so I can see what's going on over there. And it will record any movements.
how far does it go before it loops?
It's
Permission to speak?
it's a while, and I'd have to go look it up, but, I mean, I have it at my home, and I can go back months.
Well, I'm just saying, like when we had that truck come in and take down the wires a few years back.
Last year,
Was it last year? No, longer than that, wasn't
they
it?
grabbed that recycle thing and took it down, right? Last year.
You can set up the cameras so that the minute there's movement there, it starts recording. So
What
if I arm that, say in the salt shed building, tonight when they go in, I'm gonna get an alarm, I'm gonna get an alarm, I'm gonna get an alarm on my phone saying, you've got movement there.
So why can't I put one of those things on the corner of the building over here?
Well, it's-
Link it to,
Kind of where I was going with that. How much were those?
They were about $160 on Black Friday sale. You certainly can, I'd need to get another connector, which I can do.
Can't put them on the trees, you just cut them. Yes, sir.
The Blink cameras, I have a couple of businesses, I run them there. And their camera quality is very good.
right,
They store them forever. You can, under your annual subscription of $100 a year through Amazon Prime, you can install unlimited amount of cameras with multiple different networks, as long as there's Wi-Fi connection to that camera. And you can expand or extend how long you want that recording to be for. The only downfall that I've noticed with that is, one, it's battery operated,
right.
and typically the outdoor cameras will, depending on how much activity it's getting, could be anywhere between a year-ish for a battery life.
What type of battery?
It's a
Lithium.
it's a lithium battery, which in grand scheme of things, it's a lot cheaper than
Right.
hiring
Yeah,
a
yeah.
security company and everything else to monitor it, which our phone will go as busy as mine does. I've got
Yes.
5-6 different locations that I'm running. But the only issue that I find with them is, let's say for example, the camera at the salt shed is running, recording something, it won't record anything else simultaneously. So it has to wait for that recording to end in order for it to pick up a motion and
Different
attention
one.
somewhere else. That's been the only, the downfall that I've
So you'd have
noticed.
to do like another subscription or something.
You can't.
Yeah, you can,
Right.
it's just one subscription
Right.
off of one, and I mean, I could show you, literally, I've got multiple
Right.
locations, multiple buildings throughout the state and home and everything
Right,
else
okay.
that it will run. Good product, it's just that little small
So-
thing.
Yes.
So if we have somebody come in the gate where we pointed, we're not gonna catch them up to the salt shed until that
So they clear out.
has gone.
No,
Through
that's
the-
not true. If I open it up immediately and it's recording, I can shut that down and go to the next camera and it will start picking it up.
Manually, you probably do that, but what if you're not on your phone and then
Yes, you're right,
someone's over messing with
absolutely.
something while someone's distracting the camera, or they don't
But if
know
you're
it's
setting it up for
someone
30 seconds at recording, once that 30 seconds is gone, you're gonna pick that
Other
Movement
activity,
up
you'll pick
in
the
a
other
different one.
activity up.
30 seconds after.
Whatever camera picks that motion
Correct.
up.
Right, so if
Yes.
it's continuous, let's say you set one up right there in that corner in place of that, right? It's only going to activate up to a certain distance.
Yeah.
So I wanna say it's maybe like 30 feet, 20 feet. Anything past that, it's not picking up.
Right.
And you can always, like, if it's a high traffic area, you can pick and choose which section you don't want it to pick up on in
Right,
case
right.
it's an outdoors with trees and shadows that move and things like that, it's picking up. You can record it for 5 seconds at a pop, which is enough to give you what you're looking for.
Right.
But if that one's recording, picking up activity here, continuous activity in this room, it won't open up another one. I had a similar situation where at the Augusta location, had a gentleman break into the building in the middle of the night during a storm. Thankfully, I had it running so I could see live what he was doing and whatever he's not doing, and Augusta PD was able to give them live updates. But if one camera is running, the other one will not pick up. So that's where I come from a background
No, I
in
get it.
military security and stuff like that, but, so having a DVR system, which has a continuous coverage, would be a lot better than, having a, system, especially if we're trying to get
Right.
multiple locations going at the same time, security wise.
Yeah, because like if you had one over here in the corner, that's gonna have some serious activity on it, it could take from
It will-
something
it
going
will
on.
take
over
If
there.
we have
Depending
one-
on which
right.
direction, depending on how you mount
So
it.
that wouldn't be a
Right?
very good idea.
No.
So if you mount it away from the road, looking towards the building,
Right.
right? And then it's going to have its own zone that it's
Right.
going to pick up, and nothing past that zone.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I think the sand shed just, that's fine for that over there and let that do its
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
It's 6 months out of the year it's busy,
Right, that's just, right,
and we pretty much know who's in there,
right.
So what do you, what are you recommending?
I just kick it for now and.
I'm not recommending
Oh,
anything at
okay,
this
all right.
point, but Vice Chair
I just
Susie
wanted a
had
price
asked.
on it, just out of curiosity.
Yeah.
and-
Okay,
Go
yes,
So if I hear you correctly, this is not some done deal of
No,
spending this money.
it was just a question of issues we've been having and kind of wanted a price check on Seacoast, make sure they're not overcharging and whatnot. And just having another option, basically.
So what is done when you do see, untoward activity around? You
well,
call the police,
well, it,
you do
it's-
nothing, what?
well, it's helped, we've caught the person that came in and pulled the service down, on the corner.
Oh, because of an accident?
No, somebody just come in, I believe, we've had two situations, one was a truck, which we caught, and this was 3 or 4 years ago. And then another one, I guess you're saying, I guess I don't remember that
I think
one.
it was a recycle guy,
So,
pulled the recycle up and he didn't drop his thing down low enough or something.
so we've caught a couple issues with that corner. And obviously we have, the cameras out here for the staff. And that pretty much was, we pretty much went with that because of all of the, I can't say threats, but all of the residents that made, disheartening comments to the staff. I'll be back, you better hope I don't come back, type, things like that. So
How were those dealt with? Did you call the police?
Yeah, I don't know if you remember, Alan, 4 or 5 years ago, Scott started carrying aside,
Children?
yes,
Oh.
because we had a pretty bad, and these are our neighbors. You know, these are our neighbors that are
Yeah.
making these threats, and in today's society, you have to take those seriously. And so we have the cameras, hence the buzzing in, that's something we put in to keep the people safe, that it's not gonna stop someone that wants to get in, but it's gonna give the staff, hopefully those few seconds to get to an area, obviously hit the call button, and so,
Yeah.
unfortunately, you know, this is the society we live in.
Yeah.
So,
I do think we have to sort of keep in mind that a system like that can, lower customer service when people used to be able to just walk in, come in and do their business.
it's,
Just as an example, my wife came once, during the summer, went to open the door, you can't go, you can't walk in. And she actually had somebody say to her, "What do you want?" Well, what do you mean, what do you want? This is my property, I wanna come in and do my business.
It's not just one time, that's.
And that's the response, I've been here a couple
That,
times.
that sort of thing needs to
It's
be
not,
changed.
may I help you, your response.
well, that's,
Staff does not answer it when we say.
All right.
I have had a couple residents say the same thing
Yeah, it's not.
on like not, and I've heard all good things when I'm coming in.
And that might just be
I have heard
a, you know, a
residents say the same thing.
teaching moment sort of thing.
absolutely, I mean, we need to know that.
Yeah, you do have one very friendly staff member there, a new person there that's very, very friendly, but there's one or so that you can tell put it out there.
That's fine. That's fine. I know the times that I'm here, cause I don't listen every time that they say, but every time I've heard them talk, how can we help you? Or what can we do for you today, is the word
Right,
that I've heard.
That's
It's
what
our
a
town.
townsman ought to get. right?
Yeah. But, I mean, it's, for a better word, it sucks that we have to do this.
Or you hear like,
But-
oh my gosh, you should come tomorrow, you know, this is like 10 minutes of blah blah, I know, what are you doing here right now, or, you know, it's,
Well, some transactions take longer,
I get that.
Yeah,
right? So we do ask that you come a little bit earlier in the day to make sure that we allow enough time to accomplish those.
Mhm.
So that could definitely be, and if they're already 3 deep with long transactions of 3, you know, someone wants to register 3 cars, they may not be, you know, adequate time in the day to accomplish all that. So they're doing really well for what we have. Like, I would love nothing more to be able to walk in my school and, you know, just, hey, I'm here to pick up my grandkids, but we can't
I
do that anymore.
understand that, but I also work in the state of Maine, and it was nothing for me to have to work over or work breaks, or work, or do the extra stuff, do a service for, you
Right,
know, I mean, I get
yeah,
that.
I agree.
I mean, I didn't mind that because
Yeah.
it was my job,
Customer service,
customer services.
yes. Well, thank you for bringing that to our attention. We'll definitely make sure Christine just goes over it with the staff.
We actually have a staff meeting planned in January.
Perfect.
Hmm.
Perfect.
but unfortunately, that's the future, and if we ever get into a new building, that feature will definitely be there.
Right, so you think that this may be held off until we get the new town hall?
Oh, I, as far as cameras go, or the upgrade, or spending that money, I mean, I would think so. The biggest thing with the cameras were those out there, watching for someone that had just left. You better hope I don't come back. It was designed to point out into the parking lots, that if that person does come back, it gives them a chance to see, oh, here they come.
Yeah.
You know, and it's all about keeping them safe. And it's unfortunate that we have to do it. I'm sure it's an inconvenience for some people, but you should only have to stand there once you hit that button and they hit the, you know, they call and, you know, what can we do for you, or, you know, why are you here today, or whatever, however it's,
Yeah.
you should only be there no more than 5 seconds. So,
They're answering that immediately.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, there has been a couple of delays only because the ladies may have been on the phone or in the bathroom, and I have to come out of the office and hit the buzzer, cause I don't have one in my office, but. So there may have
So-
been a few delays, I will say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing a good job at answering the buzzer, yeah.
cool, thank you.
That's good to hear. Thank you.
Okay, any, you beat that pretty good. Any other public comment? All right,
Cameras are almost good.
yes, yes. Old business, we have none. Legal, we have none. Town managers report, anything special?
Actually, I do have a couple other things. As you know, we did receive a donation/grant in the amount of $25,000 from the Stephen and Tabitha King Foundation that will help pay for radio upgrades. The original price of that upgrade was approximately $41,000. Super thankful for it. However, when the department heard that we only received $25,000, they quickly went on to ask the radio communications business to re-quote again so that we could get as close to the $25,000 so that we don't burden our taxpayers. That being said, radio communications management came in with a quote of $24,037.28. Now, because of our procurement policy, because of the amount, I'm supposed to go out and seek 3 bids. However, this board can waive that based on sole sourcing and the knowledge of what they have already done for our department. So that's what I'm asking this board if you would
Are
consider.
those the same radio, same everything?
This is upgrading
right, so,
the tower and stuff.
I think at 41,000, they took it down to 24 or something.
I think they changed it a little bit, I didn't
I'm
see
saying as
the-
long as it's the same radio, that's
Oh.
what I'm getting at. As long as they didn't get half the radio.
It's not a
Radio.
radio, it's an upgrade to the antenna pieces, is what it amounts to. There's some dead areas, I guess, in town.
Hmm?
This would help, I think we're tagging along with Togus
Right, okay.
to help this. So, if you guys give the blessing that I don't have to go seek 2 other quotes, I'll just tell them they're good to go.
Well, I'll be the stick in the mud, I guess. Out of transparency, I obviously would rather keep our money in town. But out of transparency for our past, I would say put it out to try to get a couple more, but if the board is in favor of, not doing it, I'm okay with that. I'm just, for transparency purposes, knowing what we've been through, it's just my suggestion. But I'm fine with what the board has just said, so.
And you two are good with that?
That's, I guess put it up a bid then, that's fine. I'll come back and if we save $1,000, it'll be $1,000.
I mean, how pressing is this?
This is not pressing, as a matter of fact, they were going, if you gave it the blessing, they were gonna wait till after the first of the year to order the equipment, but now I'm gonna have to find 2 other radio.
I apologize, but
communications people.
just for transparency,
Okay,
No, I understand that,
yeah, exactly, so.
you want 2, I'll get 2 other bids. Okay.
Sherry, okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
All right, any public comment on that? Okay,
Let's see what else I have. Today I did work with Steve McDonald to apply for the Assistance to Firefighter grant. Once again, we're in hopes that this year we're successful. We have a bid, a quote of about $135,000 to replace the SCBA's fire department. Fingers crossed we get it this year. The tree lighting, we had, and I'm sure Dot's probably gonna cover this, but we did have quite a few people here, a lot of young families. I was super encouraged about that. And as you may have noticed on our Facebook, we went live on the caroling here and the actual tree lighting. On the caroling, we have had over 1,000 views on our live. And on the tree lighting, as of this afternoon, we had 638 views. So that really amps us up. Super exciting. I did attend the school board meeting last Wednesday, a week ago tonight, along with Vice Chair Susie. Thursday, sorry, lose track of my days. And explained to them that the Togus VA system has given their blessing to allow the change on the deed. And I asked the board to move forward with having their attorneys start the process, and the board voted in favor of that.
nice.
So I'm hopeful that within 6 months, we have a deed to the property and we'll march on with the new town office. That's all I have.
Okay. Town office report, item B, code enforcement, animal control, verbal communications, RSU, nobody. Boards and committees. Young lady,
Age Friendly will be moving the monthly luncheon here to the town office during the months of January, February, and March instead of at the Grange. And we'll see how that works, but it's warmer here than it is in the Grange during the winter months, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to continue the 12 months of giving for an additional year because it did very well for the first year. The Christmas social and tree lighting was well attended. People seemed to enjoy the Christmas carols. 86 cards, Christmas cards were made for veterans and brought to Togus to be distributed. The kids had fun decorating the cupcakes, and I was pleased that they really didn't make a mess either. They didn't. No, it was nice. The tree lighting went well. We did have some people that was a little discouraged if there was no tent, heaters, or fire pit out there this year that we've had in the past, so that's something to think about. There are letters to Santa for our first year. We had 15 children put letters in the mailbox, and all have been answered by Santa and mailed.
Nice.
So that was nice.
Phone call from one last night, had to read me the letter from Santa because they were so excited.
That's cool.
Yes.
All that they received?
Yes.
That's
all.
awesome.
That's nice. The current newsletter is going to print on Friday, so within 10 days after that, they should be in people's mailboxes. December 7th was our first resident sand Saturday. We had 21 residents show up to get their sand. The next one is this coming Saturday.
He filled it today too.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
So they'll be doing be there 9 to 12
Thanks, killing it.
on Saturday. The sand for senior deliveries have begun, and we're doing that weekly right now. Pretty much. 175th is continuing to work on the Battle of the Bands fundraiser.
When's the next meeting?
The second Tuesday of January.
Okay.
Where a lot of things will be
coming quick.
finalized. I know. We'll see if we can get it moved, but we also need to see if we can get Crystal Falls at that meeting also, to iron out all the
Right.
Yeah.
little,
I guess, I mean, that's probably the most important thing.
Yeah.
Right now, is that.
yeah, I mean, he's said yes, but
Yeah.
I just like to
Finalize it,
double
good
check
thing.
things.
Sure, yeah. Okay. That's it.
That's it.
Thank you. Sherry?
I have nothing.
I have nothing other than Merry Christmas, everybody, and Happy New Year, and we'll see you in January.
The only thing I have is, I did not decorate the tree. Henry was in the bucket. I was on the ground, so it's your husband's fault.
Why?
It's not your Independence Day.
And you wanted the lights up and down. So you're 50% at fault.
Did I say that?
That's my story and I'm sticking to it.
What's lights up and down?
Huh?
I don't remember telling you
Yeah, I
that,
do.
but-
I have photographic memory.
It's an interesting.
So the only thing I'm gonna talk about is we got some of the designs from the Plymouth
Plymouth Engineering.
Engineering, and I really, I haven't looked at them up close, but I really like the new design. It's over there.
You guys need to set a meeting up.
I really, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but I like the design. But anyway, other than that, that's all I got. I'll make a motion to adjourn, 7:32. That motion is second, all in favor? Thank you, everybody. Merry Christmas to everybody. I talked to him about that.
Two questions.